The screaming metal of the Wanderer was the last thing Silas Vale heard before the universe folded in on itself. When gravity returned, it was cruel and excessive, slamming the ship into a graveyard world. Silas awoke suspended in wreckage, his vision swimming in a sea of white noise and pain. A shard of hull plating had pinned his leg to the seat, a brutal anchor in a dying reality. He freed himself with a scream that tore from his throat, raw and animalistic. Survival, after all, is rarely a polite affair. Stumbling from the broken hatch, Silas fell into a world of monochrome despair. The sky was the color of old bone. The trees were petrified skeletons clawing at the void. He dragged his bleeding leg to a massive, fossilized root, his blood soaking into the stone-hard bark. Then the impossible happened. From the contact of human blood and dead wood, a vibration hummed. A bud swelled, defied the laws of entropy, and burst open. A luminous, alien blue flower pulsing with cold light. They emerged from the ash like avenging ghosts. Towering, blue-skinned women, armored in bone and leather, moving with the terrifying grace of apex predators. Leading them was Liana, a warrior carved from cliffs, 8 feet of muscle and scars. She saw the dying man, then the glowing flower fed by his blood. In her eyes, Silas saw a terrifying shift, not compassion but hunger. She touched the petals, then his wound. Understanding settled on her face like a mask of iron. She didn't ask. She claimed. Silas was hauled into their settlement, a fortress of grey stone rising from the dust. He was thrown into a cell, treated with a pungent, miraculous salve, and locked away. When Liana visited, bringing food, the dynamic was clear. He was a resource. Your blood awakened life, she told him, her voice a resonant depth charge. Your vessel, your seed, our future. The implication hung heavy in the stagnant air. He was to be a breeding animal for a dying race. But Silas Vale was a scientist, not a sacrifice. He refused her food, triggering a standoff that nearly got him killed by her guards until he pivoted the negotiation. I can save your soil, he pleaded, brandishing a crumpled packet of carrot seeds found in the wreckage. Let me work. Liana's desperation outweighed her tradition. They converted the Wanderer's hydroponics bay into a laboratory. It was a fragile truce built on the razor's edge of trust. Days bled into weeks as they tested the acidic, poisoned earth. When the first green shoot pierced the soil, Liana wept. A warrior undone by the sight of chlorophyll. They stood together, guardian and gardener, protecting a single leaf in a world of grey. Chaos shattered the peace. The withered came at night. Men corrupted by the blight turned into hollow, skeletal monsters. Leading them was a massive, scarred brute. Kyle, Liana's brother, lost to the madness. The attack was a visceral storm of violence. Silas, refusing to flee, fought beside Liana, weaponizing the chemicals from his ship. He hurled canisters of ammonia and phosphorus, creating a choking cloud that drove the monsters back. In the aftermath, amidst the chemical haze, he tended to Liana's wounds. The barrier between captive and captor dissolved, replaced by the forged bond of shared blood. The settlement's council demanded answers. In a ceremony thick with tension, Liana stood before the elders. They expected her to claim him by the right of hunger, a forced mating rite. Instead, she defied centuries of dogma. She took Silas's hand, placing it not just on her abdomen, but over her heart. A declaration of partnership, not possession. Witnessed, the ancient elder intoned, and the air in the plaza shifted from predation to possibility. Silas's microscope revealed the terrifying truth. The blight was artificial, a synthetic viral capsid engineered to sterilize the planet. To build a cure, he needed sulfur from the thermal springs, territory held by the withered. They journeyed into the steam and rot, where they were ambushed again by Kyle. But this time, Silas saw the human pain trapped behind the monster's eyes. Instead of killing him, Silas risked everything to take a blood sample. Back in the lab, the science confirmed Silas's theory. The withered weren't transformed. They were chemically starved, their biology collapsing under toxins. He synthesized a counteragent. They tested it on a captured withered. And as the madness faded from the creature's eyes, restoring his humanity, the settlement erupted in disbelief. This wasn't just agronomy. It was resurrection. Reconciliation began slowly. The withered, including Kyle, were treated and returned. The gender war that had defined their extinction event ended, replaced by a tentative cooperation. 8 months after the crash, the settlement gathered for the harvest. The carrots were misshapen and small, but to the ancient elder, they were holy relics. She bit into one, tears streaming down her face, tasting a memory she thought lost to time. On the watchtower that night, under a sky clearing by degrees, Silas and Leanna looked out over a patch of green that defied the grey. "I stayed because I had nowhere to go," Silas admitted, taking her hand. "Now I stay because this is home." 2 years later, the world had changed. The patch of green was now a sprawling field of crops. The air smelled of rain and rich earth. Leanna stood amidst the stalks, her hand resting on her swollen belly, the first natural pregnancy in a generation. Silas jogged over, sweat-streaked and smiling, suggesting they plant an apple tree for the daughter arriving soon. It is often said that hope is a fragile thing, easily crushed under the boot of reality. But as Leanna leaned into the man who fell from the stars, she knew the truth. Hope is not fragile. It is a seed. Buried in ash, drowned in blood, it waits only for the right hands to tend it. In the distance, the ancient elder watched them and finally allowed herself to close her eyes, content. The grey was gone. The future was green,